I don't know how or why, but it just seems like someone related to the Guardians of the Galaxy films can't seem to stay away from controversy or their name being placed in controversy. And we all know this is not the first time. New situation has developed. A viral tweet has gone online, like someone suggesting, like, "Hey Marvel, hear me out. Like, replace Chris Pratt with Patrick Wilson instead as Star Lord." Now, the reason why Son brought this idea up because there is still questions of Chris Pratt's alleged belief with like a church political affiliation and a church with anti-LGBTQ views. So basically, if anyone that clapped back and clearly has supported Chris Pratt publicly, it's James Gunn. He did clap back and responded with a series of tweets to a user defending him. First saying, "For what? Because of your made up, utterly false beliefs about him? For something that someone else told you about him that's not true? Chris Pratt would never be replaced as Star-Lord. But if he ever was, we would all be going with him." So yeah, I mean, like, look, you can say whatever you want about James Gunn with his past mistakes about and all that about like pedophilia tweets and jokes and all that. But I mean, like, you just appreciate the fact that he just defending his friend and co-working star. After all, like the cast of the Guardians did defend James Gunn when for a couple of years he was fired by Marvel and Disney because of pedophilia tweets and jokes that happened. So I mean, like, of course he'd have his back and return the favor. So that is good to see as well. I and it's not the first time. Like, he's been facing backlash in recent years. Even like, when Chris Pratt appeared as a guest on the Stephen Colbert show, and Elliot Page tweeted like, "You're a famous actor. Like, why would you be, if you're like you say like this church is not anti-LGBTQT like the, but that's not true." Just calling him out, and uh, controversy sparked ahead like from 2020 presidential election. Simply for like mocking the significance of voting. Like he stayed away from it, simply not saying either he's Democratic or Republic. So just wanted to stay out of politics, and he's been ridiculed for some time regarding the discrimination against this church, supposedly against LGBTQ. But with those questioning saying like he's hateful towards like I don't believe he's hateful towards those groups. I mean, sure, you don't know a person until you meet them, but he's not a malicious person. He doesn't seem like a malicious person, and clearly has no intent for harm. So that's not something that's believable. James Gunn did say this in a Twitter thread about these accusations of him being anti-LGBTQ, saying he isn't. I know the church he currently goes to. Do you? The answer is you don't. But you heard from someone who heard from someone who heard from someone where he goes to church. So decided, yeah, okay, I'll believe this terrible thing I heard online about this celebrity. So yeah, it's nice to see that once more James Gunn defending Chris Pratt, and I don't think there's going to be any calls for recasting, but I mean, just like I said before, say what you want about him, but it's appreciative that they work well together. And I think it was even a few years ago, Chris Pratt responded back to these accusations at like saying, it has recently been suggested I belong to a church which hates a certain group of people and is infamously anti-LGBTQ. Nothing could be further from the truth. I go to a church that opens their doors to absolutely everyone. So what are the facts? I don't know. They're not clear. I don't know the name. I don't want to know. I'm not gonna try dig too deep. Is it anti-LGBTQ? I don't know what's true or not true, but since then he claims that's not true. Nothing against LGBTQ group. So yeah, like all these accusations, false, not false. You know, it's a situation that grows louder and louder unexpectedly, and I think it is starting to sound like an unnecessary distraction. Hopefully, by now, it's not a distraction. But if those who know him well, have a friendship with him, say like all that is not true, then I think the matter should be settled and really like a conversation closed from here on out. So hopefully, like now, enough of this topic about supporting or not supporting LGBTQ groups, because I think it's all just loud noise for nothing, in my opinion.